Welcome to the second episode of the Behind the Film podcast with myself, Oliver.
And myself, Nick.
Today we'll be looking at the best animated films, but unfortunately due to coronavirus, we've had to make some small adjustments.
Yes. We're doing this over Skype call. So the audio is probably not going to be the best to everyone's delight. But at the very least, we're going to get content.
Yep, that's right.
So yes, the best animated films.
Alright. Yeah, so we're going to be talking a bunch of different styles, so not just, Pixar, which, we're still going to be talking about those, but then we're also going to go through, actual hand-drawn ones, and then so on. Okay, so our first film is Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. And what were your thoughts, Nick?
Yes. Well, everyone loves this movie. It won Best Animated Film at the Oscars whenever it was. The 2019 Oscars, I think.
Yeah, it was 2019 for 2018. Yeah.
And it's a fantastic movie. There's not too much to say on my end. I really loved the film. I've watched it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the best Spider-Man film?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think they're getting, with the actual live action ones, they're getting much better because they're trying to make it sort of funny. But I think this is clearly the best one. I don't think there's any arguing about it. The soundtrack and then the actual story, actually making a superhero that's relatable for so many people and their actual viewers. I think that's really special. Yeah.
I thought it was a smart technique, really, to have all these different Spider-Man characters in it, because it kind of gives a wide variety of choices for different ethnicities who watch it.
Yeah.
So, got the young, futuristic robot girl, and then you've got the old Spider-Man and Miles and all these different characters. And it's kind of like everyone has a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was quite effective. I mean, the movie just has a really great understanding of the character.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they understand what makes him interesting, and so they played to those interests, like his high school life and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And they've done it so well that it seems like it's an actual, just there's an actual normal high school boy, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just it's a very fun and easy movie to enjoy. My only real problem with it is I thought that the villain, Fisk, was kind of weak.
Yeah.
They didn't develop his motivations enough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's got to have some sort of downfall to to be able to make up for the... Oh, not make up for it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, if Fisk was a great villain, then this could be up there with, The Dark Knight as one of the greatest superhero films.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already still pretty high up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we both gave it 9 out of 10. So
yeah, purely because of the Fisk thing for me, I just thought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost forgivable.
Yeah.
Because the movie is already dealing with so much stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Okay, so our next film that we're talking about is Spirited Away.
What is Spirited Away, Oliver?
Spirited Away, well, it was an animated film from Studio Ghibli. Well, and in my opinion, one of the best, or second best.
Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Or Ghibli.
I don't know. It's Ghibli or Ghibli. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying Ghibli.
Yep.
Spirited Away, another Best Picture Oscar winner. It's a film by Hayao Miyazaki. He's made a lot of fantastic movies. Others such as Ponyo and Neighbor Totoro, and another movie which we're going to get into later in the podcast, which we won't reveal now.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was really, the story obviously is incredible. It was super creative, and then you feel a real connection to the characters. And then, but the design of it all, the fact that everything is hand drawn, like frame by frame. That's well, not everything. Like part of it is computer, but most of it, like I just think that's incredible. And like just the lead, designer, and I think that was probably the director as well. Like they just drew thousands and thousands of them, and like so there was one scene where, she's looking out onto the ocean bay thing from the bathhouse, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And so they've got all the people in the background, but it isn't like that they're just using the same ones over and over again, and just to show that they're moving, because it's actually like you can see each individual character that you can recognize throughout the film moving around, doing different stuff, which I just think that's so detailed and so incredible to be able to put that in a film, you know.
Yeah, it's a very special movie. You know, it has a lot of that childlike wonder.
Yeah.
That I find so appealing about it. I mean, the thing that really drew me into loving it is more or less just the visual things, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
It just looks stunning.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obviously an interesting story, but I think it's definitely one of the Ghiblis where it's more about the visual flair.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the bad thing. It's still phenomenal, and it's fantastic to look at.
Yeah.
And the special part about it is because it's all hand drawn, and you know it's watercolor paintings for the backgrounds and everything.
Yeah.
It's a timeless animation.
Yeah.
50 years from now, it's still going to look amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think when you were like comparing that to like Totoro, I think just because Totoro is such a like wholesome story, you know, but then it's not about the like the design is obviously really good, but then it's not as good as Spirited Away, you know.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was saying to the audience who are watching, I think that if you're trying to get into Studio Ghibli, this would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
I think it's a good introductory film. If you don't like it, then Ghibli is probably not for you, because Spirited Away is certainly a weird movie.
Yeah.
And there are other films that just get even more weird.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get into Ghibli, I recommend seeing Spirited Away. But a lot of people have seen it already and love it.
Yeah. Well, it's on Netflix now, which is great. You know?
Yeah, that whole deal. They're putting all of the Ghiblis on there, like 20-something movies.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Very nice. Okay.
Very nice for this coronavirus lockdown thing.
Yeah, well, it is. They're like dropping all the quality to try and not have shutdowns, which is quite, you know, ridiculous in a sense, but I guess it makes sense.
But I gave Spirited Away a 10 out of 10. It's a fantastic animation.
Yeah, as did I. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a weak part about it.
Exactly. I don't think I can pick out one thing that's really downfall to the film, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so our next film, Rango.
Is Rango.
Yeah.
This was one that I was quite interested in recommending. So I'll quickly mention Rango is a film by Gore Verbinski. It stars Johnny Depp as Rango, who is a lizard who comes across a town.
Yeah.
Like this town called Dirt. And it's essentially just kind of like a spoof of some of Johnny Depp's career, as well as westerns.
Yeah.
It was made for Nickelodeon. And it's quite an interesting movie. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I thought, like, there's so many films that touch on, like, the whole really classic sort of western. Like, you've got Django, which is very different to Rango. Not a name, though.
Right.
But then, you know, with Django at the end, they've, you know, like, Jamie Foxx is riding away on his horse with his wife. That sort of thing. But then with Rango, you've got these, like, extremely exaggerated characters, right? But then they all, like, as the story progresses, you feel like there's a real depth to each character, despite there being such an exaggeration, because it's a spoof on westerns. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, unlike other films that we just talked about, you know, Spirited Away and Spider-Man, that are very sort of colourful and wholesome, you know, Rango is like a really sort of dark, dirty. Dirty as in, like, it's a very grimy movie. It's not a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
it's certainly well shot, but it's not. It's the color palette and everything is quite dark.
Yeah.
And it's a darker movie in terms of animations than most released today.
Yep.
And I think it's quite underrated. A lot of people aren't fans of it, but I think it's really something special.
Yep. No, I thought so too. Like, I remember watching it when I was younger, and my dad was really into it as well. It was like, it's like
really funny.
Yeah.
The movie as well, for some cinephiles out there, there is a lot of references, like I said, to Johnny Depp's career, especially to the film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
One of the characters literally shows up for like 5 seconds in the start of the movie, which was quite amusing.
Yeah.
Rango is certainly weird. It's definitely an odd animation out of the bunch we've picked to talk about, but I definitely think it's one that needs to have more attention placed on it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, like, it's
like I'll give you some names right here. Hans Zimmer did the score.
Yeah,
sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And a very interesting one is that Roger Deakins was the cinematography consultant.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough.
That's why it looks badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Rango, I watched it quite a few years ago when I was young, when it came out on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And I only recently watched it again, and I forgot how excellent it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, because with the goal of this video is, you know, we want to try and have different animations. Like, it's certainly different to Ghibli films.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it is worth a watch.
Yeah, it's very different to Ghibli films, but then it's like you develop a connection to all the characters despite it being like animated, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I gave the film from memory 9 or a 10. I don't really remember. I think it was a 9.
Yeah, I also gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. Like, it was a real surprise, I think,
it was.
Yeah, to have such a great feeling about that movie.
Mm.
All right, now moving on to the next one is Toy Story.
Toy Story. What is there to say, really? It's a classic.
Exactly.
Every single person has seen it at this point.
Yeah.
Kicked off Pixar's conglomerate empire.
Yeah. Well, the start of Pixar, like, with their animations, was just incredible. You know, like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, it's so many.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, around the days of the early Toy Story movies and Nemo and stuff is really when Pixar was at its height.
Yeah, I agree.
I found I've not been as interested in Pixar recently. Like, I wasn't a fan of Incredibles 2 that much.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother to see The Good Dinosaur because I heard it was garbage.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But Toy Story, obviously a classic.
Yeah.
I will say though that I don't really think that the animation has aged the best.
Yeah, I agree.
In this first one, at least.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this fully computer CGI was very new at the time. This film was made in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Disney put in some money, they could do like a remastered version.
Oh yeah, but I think this is a film that has, it's a film that's defined like our generation. You know, like everyone has seen it, and when we were growing up, this is the film that everyone watched,
yeah.
right? And
yeah,
so
like your childhood is not a childhood if you haven't seen Toy Story.
Yeah,
you know.
But I think if they try to remaster that, it's like it's very different, you know, because it's like trying to remaster, you know, it's 13 Angry Men, you know, because it'd be great, right, to see it in a better quality.
Yeah.
But then to, like, it's just the fact that it's made in the time that it was made gives like depth to the movie and to the actual story that was taking place aside from the story in the movie, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a special movie. I mean, I think that because this is the big problem with all of those old Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
is that George Lucas put in a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
That, you know, the terrible CGI and all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
And all the fans have been desperate for a original cut, you know, without any of the rubbish CGI. And I feel like if Disney wanted to have a project where they remastered Toy Story, they could chuck it on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but if they did that, they would still have to make the original available, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, there's not really much to say. Everyone knows Toy Story is a phenomenal movie. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, the cinematography in it as well is quite, like, it's really cool how they've done it.
Yeah, it is. It's got great pacing in the script, and it's really funny.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where obviously it's not similar, but in a sense, you can watch it multiple times and still find it funny.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when you know you found a good comedy. It's like a lot of Edgar Wright's work, you know, Hot Fuzz and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Great comedies multiple times after seeing them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's like they've managed to create this entire, like, tense universe out of a couple of bedrooms, a gas station, and a stretch, like, of some highway, you know?
I mean, it's completely genius marketing because the characters are literally toys.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a film for children, so they can just make the characters as toys. It's genius. Like, the actual concept is fantastic in terms of profitability.
Yeah, well, I like it also sense like it was sort of, it wasn't made just for them though, you know? Because I think anyone can really watch it, you know?
Oh, it's definitely a movie for kids and adults.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of my dad's favorite movies. I'm not even kidding. He watches it all the time. He loves Toy Story.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, also the voice acting in it is fantastic. One of Tom Hanks's best performances, I think.
Oh yeah, well, it's like it made him, it made his voice iconic, you know, which is what it does, I guess. But yeah, it really, yeah.
I think that's the thing with voice acting in general is there's actually a lot of talent that goes into it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
you can't just record your voice and it sounds good. You know, you got to have talent. It's the same with Johnny Depp and Rango.
Yeah.
And for a live action film, but with a voice acting performance, Scarlett Johansson and Her.
Yeah.
Fantastic performance. Even though obviously she's not real, it's just her voice.
Yeah. I agree.
There's not much there. In terms of Toy Story, there's nothing really to say. It's a classic.
It's exactly. Yeah, what else can you discuss that hasn't already been discussed?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so our next film, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Another kind of overlooked movie, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, like, the first time I saw it in the cinema, and so I thought it was, like, just, you know, a normal, you know, the same sort of, like, level as Toy Story would be. And I thought it was really good. You know, like, it really surprised me, because, like, I thought it was going to be just meh, trying to sort of, you know, do some clay thing that imitates what Pixar's trying to do as well. But it was, like, the story was really, really good. And it didn't make fun of the characters, you know?
No.
Like, especially, well, just an example, like, the tailoring of the characters. Like, what they were wearing wasn't stupid, you know?
Well, it was quite accurate to the novel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's based on,
Yeah.
I mean, that was my kind of hesitation watching it. Because I didn't watch it in the theaters. I watched it only a few years ago.
Yeah.
And obviously, when I was young, I was quite a huge fan of Roald Dahl's works, especially Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
And it is a fantastic adaptation.
Yeah. I agree.
I think.
Oh, well, I actually haven't read the book, so I need to read the book to make that judgment.
Right,
but...
and it's the same thing, really.
Yeah.
It's a really faithful and well-done adaptation.
Yeah, right.
And the voice talent in it as well was quite impressive.
Oh, yeah, well, George Clooney. It's like,
George Clooney was in it. Meryl Streep was in it. I think Bill Murray was in it for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of famous people. Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
You know, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, yeah, well, it's one of his, It's like top ones almost.
He's a talented filmmaker for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, the special thing about this recommendation, Fantastic Mr. Fox, is it's stop motion.
Yeah.
Unlike these other ones, which are animated or, drawn, this was, a clay model animated. And that's, again, it's a really timeless movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And quite an interesting one to watch. Like, it's just fun to watch the clay move around. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, well, I think, because despite it, or being, like, the whole Roald Dahl thing, it still has, like, a real sort of connection or depth to all the characters. Because it seems like they know more than what they're letting on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a subtle and well done comedy, I would say. It's a comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I believe I gave it around a 10 or a 9 from memory. I don't remember. It was around that.
I think I would have given it an 8 or a 9. It was something like that.
Yeah. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Next up is my favorite Pixar film of all time. The Incredibles.
The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Or you go on if it's your favorite Pixar film.
Oh well, okay. I mean, it's a great film for families.
Yeah.
Because it's about a family. It's got fantastic action.
Yeah.
It's another animation, unlike Toy Story. It's fully rendered and looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And essentially, one of the biggest reasons I like it is I was quite a big fan of the Fantastic Four when I was young. And The Incredibles is almost like just another Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
Done well compared to the other ones, which were garbage.
Yeah.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
But The Incredibles, I don't know, there's something special about it. It was the one I watched the most when I was a kid, at least by myself.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of has a special place for me.
Yeah. Well, I remember.
I don't know what your favorite Pixar is.
I think it would probably be between The Incredibles and Toy Story. But I think, I agree with you because I remember, like, you remember those DVD players?
Oh yeah.
That you could have the portable DVD players.
Yeah.
I remember having one of those and like going around and having my two DVDs, which would be The Incredibles and the Simpsons movie, and just going around watching them. Like in the car, yeah. So I think for me, it's like a real sort of nostalgic feeling I get when I think about The Incredibles. But then actually analyzing it, it's
still well made.
Exactly. But it explores like the universal almost like fondness for finding like chinks in the superhero's armor, and I think that's what really draws you into the film. I think,
and that's another thing. It's a great superhero film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's better than every friggin' DC movie that's come out.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
apart from
DCEU, I'm not
Yeah.
counting
Yeah.
the old Batman movies and everything. But I'm talking about like Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, all
like
that stuff.
Ben Affleck Batman.
Ben Affleck Batman.
Yeah.
The best Batman. No, but The Incredibles, it's just a great film. And it's very rewatchable.
Yeah.
It's still funny, but I don't really look at it as a comedy. I think it's more of just a really good sort of family drama movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good, really in-depth characters in it.
Yeah.
It's quite special.
Well, I was reading a review, and it's a bit overdone, but it said that, like, underneath, like, the obvious, like, goof on superhero comics, it's a critique on modern American uniformity. Because it's like, Mr. Incredible is forced to retire, like, not because he's really old, but because of all the, like, lawyers seeking damages, right? So he's in, the review said that he's in the same position as the Boy Scout who helps the little old lady cross the street when she doesn't want to go.
That's an interesting little thing.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I thought that was really sort of a cool look on it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's when you know you have a special film, when people are making up what it represents.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you can make up so many different versions of what it represents, and they all fit.
Yeah, well, that's the same with like The Dark Knight, because lots of people said, that the Joker is the hero in the film.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, last episode we talked about a lot of the hidden meanings behind Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Which I think is true. A lot of people were like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was just kind of bland. Online. And I was like, you actually have no idea how much like subtlety Quentin put into the script.
Exactly.
But yeah, with The Incredibles, fantastic. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Well, it's fantastic. It's really good. I'll let you talk about this next one.
Oh yeah, well, Princess Mononoke. I only watched it about a week ago. But it was like it really took me by surprise. Like, I just when I started watching it, I just couldn't turn it off. Like it was there was
what was so intriguing about it for you?
Well, each scene in the movie was like it just drew me in, and I don't know because it has so many sort of themes to it. Because you got the obviously the environmentally friendly, but then there's also the sort of like love story. But then there's like I think also if you research it more, there's a real as with many Studio Ghibli films, there's like a real so many more meanings behind each character and each sort of spirit as they're put in this film.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
no question. It's definitely one of the darker Ghiblis.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was really like violent.
Well, it's MA. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I was quite surprised, and it was by Miyazaki.
Yeah.
The guy who did Totoro, which has got to be the most kid-friendly thing I've ever watched.
Exactly. Yeah.
He makes Totoro which has a cat bus in it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing he makes is Mononoke, which has like decapitation and demons and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it is a fantastic Ghibli. Might be my favorite.
Yeah, it's easily my favorite. I think that we should. Well, for me, I'd rather not say and just say that if people are interested in Studio Ghibli, they should definitely go watch this one if they haven't already.
Yes. Well, it's definitely fantastic. A lot of hidden meanings, like social messages. I mean.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But they're not messages where they're forced down your throat. And
yeah.
It's annoying.
I agree.
Like it's fully fleshed out in the story. And from memory, I don't think any character like just turns to the screen and goes, "Oh, deforestation."
Well, it's like they like you can watch the movie from a very sort of backed away perspective, like just seeing what you're actually watching and not looking behind the meaning, and you can really enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I would say though that if people watching, if you're trying to get into Ghibli, I would still say go watch.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah.
I don't think jumping into Mononoke would be a good place to start.
Yeah, and even if you enjoy that, then it's very different compared to the rest of the Ghibli films.
Yeah, Mononoke is definitely one that has stands by itself.
Yeah.
Due to how dark it is and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's excellent.
Yes. And so our next film, Memorable.
This is a little interesting one. I'll try and quickly describe what this is. So Oliver and I, not too long ago, before coronavirus took over the world, we went to Flickerfest, which was essentially just this conference giving information.
No, we didn't go to the actual festival, unfortunately.
No, it was like a separate function held by the festival owners.
Yeah.
And essentially, it was just talking to young filmmakers, which we are, about tips and tricks on how to make short films and how to get into festivals and whatnot. But at the end of the conference, they played about 3, from memory,
Yep.
Short films.
Yep.
And one of them was this memorable. This is a French film, from memory. Or is it French or Italian? I think it's French.
No, it's French. It is French.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically about an elderly artist coping with Alzheimer's. But it's like the way they've made it, and I think cinematography has a lot to do with how much you enjoy this film and films like this, because it's just so satisfying to watch, you know?
It's very different, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I think if you go into it not knowing what it's about, you'll probably end up being quite confused.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
well,
yeah,
I think
so.
Yeah, you could be. Because,
I mean,
yeah.
when they played it for us, we didn't know what it was about at all.
Yeah.
And we just started watching it, and it took me like a couple minutes before I picked up on what this was actually supposed to represent.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, if you don't know what's going on, like, you know, in one scene he struggles to like even recognize his phone. It's just a melting glob of clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting take on Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought made the movie so special. I mean, the other movies they showed there were a couple of Australian live-action films.
Yeah.
Which we will just say were not as good as this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, because it's also, it like explores how, not just how the people like around the person are feeling, but how he is feeling, well, the main character with Alzheimer's. You know, because he's struggling. You know? And so there's one scene where he thinks a hairdryer is a pistol and he tries to kill himself. I don't know if that's very PG rated for Mr.
Yeah,
Clark.
it's definitely an adult animation.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got a lot of like dark undertones to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's only like, I don't know if it's available online. Exactly, I don't know where you could find to watch this. But it's only about 15 minutes long, and it's a really great watch.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
Okay. Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, yeah, it's only 12 minutes long. I think if you have spare 12 minutes, then it's really worth it if you're willing to invest yourself in the story.
Nowadays, in the current state of things,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you could probably do like a whole day of like the best short films. That's an episode idea. That's an episode idea, Nick.
That's an episode idea, I reckon. leave like for that.
Yeah. Okay. So now.
I'll just say that essentially just concludes this section of the podcast. If you're interested in any of those films, we highly recommend all of them. They're all pretty good, so check them out. So now we'll move on.
Yeah. So last week I recommended that everyone watch American Beauty.
Yes, that was a film recommendation.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I'm gonna review it. Like, just talking about, you know, the different parts of it that I really enjoyed, and then obviously we can collaborate upon that.
I'll chuck in a few opinions here and there.
Yeah, so for me, the 3 key aspects of the film were the story, the acting, and the cinematography. Right?
Right.
And so I thought that with the story, I mean, it's obviously Sam Mendes, you know, he's so picky about his films, but then, like, well, at least 2, 1917 and American Beauty, have been just wonderful, wonderful films. But, well, basically, if you haven't, well, you know, you should have seen it if you didn't listen to my recommendation.
Yeah, people, if you haven't, I know I've already talked to a few people outside of the podcast who have watched the movie. But if you didn't watch American Beauty, please go watch it. It'll make this whole section a lot more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll actually be able to, it really makes the podcast a much better experience for you, I think, as the audience.
And we're not going to recommend garbage films. This is actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, well, I think, the story is about, you know, this midlife crisis going on. But then there's the way it, like, envelopes Kevin Spacey's character's story in with so many other ones, you know, like his daughter and the next door neighbor, and then the next door neighbor and his son thinking that there's something going on with Kevin Spacey. It's like there's so many things going on, but then it works so well, you know, because you can actually keep track of them all. I think that's so good.
Yeah, you'd think it would get a bit convoluted, but I don't think it does.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's a great script.
Yeah, well, it's very different to like Pulp Fiction in that regard, because you know, well, I mean, Pulp Fiction is one of the great films. But you know, it has so many stories going on that, well, the first time I watched it, I found it just like, whoa, what's going on here? You know?
This is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, the Pulp Fiction. But then with American Beauty, it's a bit less complex, obviously. But then I actually understood each intricacy of the character and what they're trying to do and what their objectives are. Blah blah.
Yeah. Well, it is certainly a excellent movie. It was a Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
It's a shame about everything that's happened with Kevin Spacey, because he is really great in this movie.
Oh yeah, I think just he's a really good actor. Like he plays that sort of like middle-aged bad guy. Sounds a bit mean. He plays it really well though. You know, like I saw this movie on Netflix called 21. It's not very good, but it's about like just a bunch of like this group that's going to the same university, and their teacher is Kevin Spacey, and so the teacher makes this private group where they're all like they go to the casinos and they count cards and they make money, obviously.
Yeah.
And he like his acting in that is just really good, despite the screenplay being like atrocious, I would say. Yeah.
I mean, did you have a favorite moment in American Beauty?
Well, I mean, there's like so many different things that really sort of add to the story, but then I think that first scene where he's in the shower, I think that's like it really sets the tone for the whole movie. And
we won't say because we're trying to be a bit PG here.
Yeah.
American Beauty is definitely an adult movie, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't watch it if you're not 15. I think isn't it 15? Yeah,
sure,
same way. Yeah, but moving on to the acting in it. I mean, we've already talked a lot about it, but it's just incredible. I mean, it's probably a lot to do to this screenplay, just because it's by Sam Mendes. But Kevin Spacey is just he's so good. Like he got the best actor for it, and there's like the casting between the characters, the chemistry that they had, or like the lack of, especially between Kevin Spacey and his wife, well, character wife, that was so good, I thought.
Well, I mean, I think that the actors had great chemistry in the sense of they played off each other well.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The script was effective enough to clearly demonstrate each relationship.
Yeah.
So you feel like Kevin Spacey is very disconnected with his wife.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's just disconnected from the whole world, and then he's trying to, like, it's unclear in the story if he's trying to be friends with the next door neighbor, like the boy, but then obviously he's trying to buy stuff from him. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, especially from...
It's certainly an interesting movie in the sense of it, it's almost like a deconstruction of romantic comedies.
Yeah.
It's also a great it's a great comedy. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of romance in it. But obviously, I won't spoil the ending. But the ending is not what most romantic comedies end.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, so much of it isn't what romantic comedies are, Like,
yeah,
you don't no, I don't think any romantic comedies have this creepy guy next door who's, gone to military school, like, videotaping the girl through her bedroom window, Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of a deconstruction of that subgenre, similar to the film Unforgiven, which kind of deconstructed the Western genres. Yeah.
And I think these genre deconstruction movies, if they're done well, they can be really special.
Yep.
And I definitely think American Beauty is one of those movies.
Yeah. Well, and then moving on to the cinematography, just quickly. I mean, it's not, it's not about the cinematography like what, easiest example, what 1917 was about.
Yeah, 1917, only real achievement was its cinematography.
Exactly. And this was like the only setting was really the main house. But there's like one great scene where the two dads, like Kevin Spacey and the next door neighbor dad, they're like looking at each other through the garage door, and I thought that was so cool. Like I don't know, it was a really, really good look at the two characters, I think. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely well shot.
Yeah.
But it's talking about cinematography for it is kind of difficult because it's clearly not the aspect that has made it so popular and famous.
Yeah, it's just that the cinematographer Conrad Hall has won an Oscar for cinematography.
Yeah. It's really well shot. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I think personally, I think the greatest achievement of the film is its screenplay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's fantastically written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now moving on to so I gave that a 10 out of 10, just in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, well, it's one of your favorite movies, or close to.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it is. It really surprised me because I won't go on about it anymore. But lots of people said that it was a crime classic almost. Yeah, but it's really
certainly different, but it's very good.
And so now,
so that pretty much concludes episode 2 of the podcast.
Yeah.
Now, we do apologize if the audio is bad. Maybe it's great. We don't know.
Well, it's probably easier to listen to than last week, I think.
Last week, yeah. I will say quickly, because everyone's kind of in isolation now, you can expect more frequent podcasts.
Yeah.
I reckon, because we've just got a lot of spare time now.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll definitely be doing the consistent, like, one each week, but then there'll probably be, like, an extra one somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Or we'll try and make another special video or something. We don't know.
Yeah.
But for next week's episode, I'm going to recommend the film Anomalisa by Charlie Kaufman. It was released in 2015, and I'm recommending this because it's another animated film, so it fits with this particular episode. But we couldn't talk about it because Oliver has not yet seen it.
I have not, yeah. Yeah, well, are there any ways to watch it? Any streaming platforms? Like, what, in Australia anyway?
It's on SBS On Demand.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's worldwide. If it's on SBS. And that's free. Alright.
Yeah, it's free.
So everyone can watch it. No excuses.
You get a couple ads, but you can watch it.
Yeah.
And it's on Stan, for people who have Stan. But it's definitely an adult animation. And Charlie Kaufman is a great filmmaker. He's made other great movies like Cynic Doge New York, which I watched recently, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But this, I will say, it's not a movie for everyone, and it also is quite complicated. But if you have enjoyed watching the animated movies that we discussed here, I think that you'll really get something out of this.
Yeah, and what age group would you say, Nick?
I believe the film is 15 plus. It's definitely an adult animation, which is part of what's special about it is all the characters are very adult.
Yeah. All right.
But it is certainly worth a watch.
Yeah.
And that's my recommendation for next week.
Well, I'll have to watch it.
Or in the next couple of days, depending on how many of these we record.
Yeah, well, I need to watch it still, so... Well, I guess I could watch it today as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to follow our Instagram, which Oliver recently created.
We created.
Yes.
Yeah, but make sure to, like, if you actually enjoyed the episode and you want to, support the channel and, watch future episodes, make sure to subscribe. And then, if you,
like,
exactly.
comment.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, just share it. If you, like, we're not, begging you to share it, but if you think that, if you have friends that are interested in film and they will probably like this, then, please share it.
Afford it.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Alright.
Yes, well, thank you for listening, and we will see you all in the next couple days.
Alright.
Thank you.
Thank you.